Hi friends. My cat might interrupt us. He's climbing right now, right behind me. Okay. Well, I just wanted to do a little video kind of explaining, the original, purpose of this channel was really to demystify spirit guides, which, like, some people are talking about. One channel that I would recommend for talking about spirit guides regularly is called Terry and the Guide Inside. I don't really feel like he's like competition or anything. I don't really have like a competitive bone in my body, but if you want a channel that all the time is talking about spirit guides and different techniques, Terry and the Guide Inside is pretty good. He does talk a lot about manifestation also, but he's like teaching you how to do it by speaking with your spirit guides, and he's pretty dedicated to it. He always is doing spirit guides, and I do spirit guides and a little bit of other things because I do kind of feel like basically it's somewhat individual because we're all going to get there in a different way, and we're all following our own path. And so, like, when I I have a lot of experience, but when I start getting ready to teach, sometimes I'm like, well, should I really be, enforcing my worldview on anyone? And I did realize that my last video was my 100th video, so woohoo! 100th video. Again, most of it is like spirit guides and techniques and stuff. A few are tarot reviews and like my tarot journey, because actually one of my guides did say, hey, when are you going to get into tarot? And I was like, what are you talking about? A lot of times when they say something, they might have said it like 5 years ago, and I'm like, where did that come from? What are they trying to get at there? And it like takes a little while to percolate, and you might not start that project right when they say. It's not like, get moving, do this like today. It's like it percolates through the system, and you start when you start. But anyway, my guides got me into tarot, which means that it sort of bled onto this channel also. So there's like tarot stuff, there's like general like energy lessons, there's like specific spirit guide stuff. And today I just wanted to say a little bit about how I got here. Basically, when I was born, it was like the generation of kids always outside. If you know about this, you know about this. We were just always outside. In my case, I was always in a backyard. Sometimes with trees, sometimes just plants. One time, notoriously, I got poison ivy or poison oak in my grandmother's backyard. No trees in her yard, but that was... like, you never forget it. It only happened to me once, but you never forget. So anyway, so I was just always outside, and I would, like, start talking to... I literally talked to, like, rocks. I talked to, like, trees. And if you know anything about this, Daryl Anka or Bashar, he channels Bashar, and Bashar always says that if you can be like telepathic with rocks, you can be telepathic with like the whole universe, because they really are the bedrock of the planet, and it like makes you telepathic. And basically, I don't think he's wrong, because that's more or less what happened to me. Where I lived, rocks would like pull out of the soil. It was always raining, so they would just literally like fall out of the ground, and I was like collecting them by my door, and I would literally talk to them. And I don't know, I would literally talk to them. I would talk to trees, and I was only basically, when I lived there, I was like 3 years old, 4 years old. So, no one was like, don't do that. They didn't even know what I was doing. I'm just out in the yard being really quiet, just talking to the natural world. And from there, I did not know the names of my spirit guides, but I could sense, well, I'm not really sure. I believe that I first sensed Archangel Michael. I was 4. I was in a situation of child abuse, and I won't go deeply into that, but I was, in that situation, and it's my experience of him. He doesn't react well to child abuse. So, I was just like, I need an adult. That's all I said, and it was just like he came in, and so I didn't know his name, but like I had kind of a guess, and then many years later I was able to connect all the dots. It takes a while to, when you're like 3, you might have your imaginary friend, but your imaginary friend might not be visible. They might not have like given you their name. So I knew he was with me, but I thought, just situationally, like just for the one situation. And then I knew that another presence was with me. Again, I didn't know his name. I knew it was a he. I knew that we had like planned everything and we knew each other from like before I knew him, and I knew like I thought I was gonna like find him in real life, which is not what happened. I mean, I was like literally 4 years old, and I was like, oh, like eventually I'm gonna find whoever this is. I'll find him in real life. It didn't quite happen like that. I did have situations where I would meet someone and be very telepathic with them, but I have never. But it is funny because eventually I did name him Steve. I was like, you can be one of the Steves, because I do have this thing where I meet I've probably in my life met like 25 different Steves. And so, one of them and I have a joke. We're still in contact. I met him when I was 16, and he's like chosen family to me now. And I call him Steve number 4 because he likes to sort of, humor gets him by. So I'm like, you could be Steve number 4. So there were a lot of Steves. That kept happening. So eventually when I encountered him again, I was pretty much an adult, and I was like, you can also be a Steve, because they don't really have the same kind of names that we have. I did a video on that, but basically it's like our names on the other side are like light and sounds and like pieces of our souls. So we don't necessarily really have like a spoken name, like, but for my purposes, I was like, so if you don't mind, you can be a Steve too. But yeah, so I started being definitely aware of Steve when I was like 5, but like not throughout my whole life. It stopped eventually. And then I was like, oh my God, like, where are my guides? Like, I desperately really need my guides, because I was going through like huge depression. Like, and I was like, where are my guides while I'm so depressed, right? And they did come back. I have a whole video on my near-death experience, and after my near-death experience, they came back. And that, I guess, was, I would have been in my early 30s, like right on the cusp of 30, when my near-death experience happened. Which actually I've never said, but I guess I was like right on the cusp of 30. And, yeah, so they came back then. So it wasn't continuous, but now I would say, due to my age, I can honestly say it's been, 14 years of almost daily contact. When they came back, I was in like a medical crisis, and I started talking to them every day because they were like literally like you're about to die again, so we have to help you. It actually was just Steve at first. It was mostly Steve. He's my medical guide, and he was like, listen, your current situation is killing you. I need to help you. And that's when I started talking to him every day. So it's not really like I super majorly recommend my method, because I sort of walk between the worlds. I think a lot of us do, who end up going down this path, because I did also almost die at birth. So I've always kind of like walked between the worlds. But I was not expecting any of this, even though I was like, where are my guides? I was obsessed with it, and I could find other people's, another thing was that I could find other people's guides. And that was when I realized, because the way I was doing it was kind of a little bit through writing. And then I was like, wait, like, these are not characters. These are like fully fledged beings. They were autonomous and everything, which means, they could essentially leave and come back and stuff. If, they could have gotten out of Dodge and never come back. They were autonomous. So that was sort of the beginning of finding other people's guides. And to find my own, I literally, I was close to death. So yeah, and then after that, I was like just talking to them every day. I started like interviewing them with like a kind of psychology brain, and what was life really like for them over there. And we still talk pretty much every day. Like occasionally I tell them I am so overwhelmed and I just have to like focus here for a few days. I need like a little quiet. But other than situations like that, we're talking every day. And like I said, I guess I pierced the veil. And recently I heard that, the way that people say, like, God is inside of you, or it's within you. And I heard someone also say the veil is actually within you. So when you're like reaching for your higher self or a deity or your spirit guides and you're breaking the veil, this is also something that at least one person, I don't think they're lying, that you can also think of the veil as being inside of you. So anyway, that's more of my story. Some of that I've never shared before. So that's how I got to this point where basically spirit guides and angels are like what I'm comfortable with in terms of mediumship. And so my daily life really revolves around talking to them, and only recently I'm comfortable asking for help from them. It took a while. So I hope that gives maybe some perspective, maybe. And yeah, I am having, it's hectic here, so I may not be able to get all the links to everything that I mentioned, but I do have a story of my NDE, which I believe is called NDE with Spirit Guides. If you scroll through my videos, it's there. And the other channel that really, really, really focuses on spirit guides is called Terry, like Terry, as in yellow, with the guide inside. So I do recommend him for like maybe more frequent content about spirit guides, maybe more frequent than me. And I just hope like maybe something in this video would help someone. If you like this kind of content, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, whatever you would like to do to interact with the video. It does help. Okay, thanks. Have a wonderful week.